Hi there, welcome back to What the Flick. I am Christy, this is Alonso, and this is Matt. Like we do every week, we have some home video recommendations for you, starting with Alonso. What's yours?
Okay.
Go first.
So Lean on Pete is the new film from Andrew Haigh. He directed 45 Years and Weekend and contributed a lot to HBO's Looking. This is about a teenage boy who lives kind of a nomadic life with his unreliable father, winds up becoming friends with a horse trainer played by Steve Buscemi, and becomes really close to an aging horse named Lean on Pete. And that horse is gonna get sent down to Mexico, where you can still legally slaughter them apparently. And so the kid decides to liberate the horse and try and find a home for both of them. This is an emotionally wrenching film, but it is worth the ride. It comes out in a good place, and it's just so beautifully put together. Haigh is a British director. This is his first film in America, and there's something about European filmmakers making their first American movie where they cannot get enough of the sky and the land and the space, and he really shoots all that stuff in a really fascinating way. The lead character is played by Charlie Plummer, who, when I saw the film last fall, before I saw All the Money in the World, where he plays the young kidnapped Getty, I had no idea this guy was an actor. I thought he was like some, horse guy that the director had found somewhere.
Like the writer.
Exactly. But no, he was on like Boardwalk Empire. He's had this long career, but in the film he is so natural and so genuine and empathetic that it doesn't, there's never a moment where you catch him acting. And he's acting, opposite like Steve Buscemi and Chloe Sevigny and these really sort of established screen presences, and still feels like that sort of level of naturalism that you get when a non-professional does like a Sean Baker movie or something.
Oh yes, this is very sad. I understand, right?
It is sad, but like I said, if you make it to the ending, you will, you won't be left on a total bummer. But gorgeously shot. All the performances are great. This is one of my favorite movies of the year, no question. So if you missed Lean on Pete in theaters, it is coming out July 10th on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah, it came out in April. I don't know how we didn't get to it because I heard all great things.
Did we never review it?
I don't think we ever reviewed it because I've not seen it.
Oh,
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know how it just sort of slipped through the cracks.
Good heavens.
So I'm very glad you recommended it today. There you go. There's our Lean on Pete review. Ta-da! Give it a number.
Oh God, I mean 9.8. I don't know. Go look on Metacritic. I reviewed it for the Wrap last year at Venice.
Okay, Matt, what is yours?
Mine is A Quiet Place. This was the movie where John Krasinski directed and starred with his wife Emily Blunt and with Noah Jupe and a relative newcomer Millicent Simmons, a deaf actress who plays their deaf daughter, and they've all learned sign language. They exist in a world in which there are monsters, and if they can hear you, they will hunt you down and eat you. And this movie is terrifying. It makes great use of sound design, and I'll be shocked if anything else is in the running for that Oscar at all this year.
Hereditary.
This is maybe Hereditary. Okay, sure.
Do we think this movie works at home?
I'm not sure if I don't know. I think it would be interesting to watch if it does work at home. Like, you want to make sure that it's late enough at night that you're not hearing a bunch of other noise.
Yeah, turn the phone off.
Right,
don't
turn
do
the phone
laundry.
off. Don't have people focus on this movie. But I like this one a lot. Great performances, really ratchets. The tension is definitely there. It's definitely terrifying when it sets out to be. You kind of, the idea of just the way it uses sound to make you more and more scared. I like this one a lot. Or silence.
Yes.
I love this one a lot. Great example of Chekhov's nail in this movie. But I like this one a lot, so I strongly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm also curious to know whether it is as powerful of an experience if you're just watching it at home, because so much of what, like the night we saw it together, and the night we saw it, like it was a packed theater, and the whole place was like so still and so silent in a way that you don't usually get in a packed theater experience, because people are jerks. That's the word I'll use today. People are jerks, and they're on their phone and they're munching food, and no one was munching anything.
I saw it in a full paying audience, and they were also like, people were sort of like, they were drinking like very quietly.
Am I allowed to do anything?
This movie was super effective when I saw it. I have to admit, the further away from it I get, the more I kind of start picking at, wait a minute, and why did they, and who thought this was a good idea, and why wouldn't they do this, and that? But it it is very committed to its premise, and I think he is very smart about the choices in terms of creating this atmosphere of dread and of silence and of that kind of thing. So yeah, it's worth a look. It'll be interesting if you can close the curtains and make your living room as much of a quiet movie theater as you can.
My choice is also kind of quiet, but not as quiet as A Quiet Place. It's called Ombra. It is an Italian drama, and it played at Cannes and Toronto last year, and then came out theatrically in the United States, at least, in January. And it's this great little indie. It earned a Spirit Award nomination for its director, who is, as we were talking about earlier, using a lot of real people. Jonas Carpignano is the director, and is about this really insular, really tight community of the Roma in Calabria in Italy. And it follows this 14-year-old named Pio, played by an actor named Pio Amato. And basically he's just like the neighborhood tough. And he is a scrawny kid. He's on that cusp of manhood, but he carries himself with such swagger and such confidence, and he's terrifying. I mean, because he is willing to do anything to establish himself as a formidable force in his family, in this community, where power is everything. Even though it's so small, who can assert power is the most important. And so he does that. He drinks and he smokes constantly. He wants very, very badly to be a grown-up. And you do watch him grow up over the course of the film. It is a slow, quiet film. A lot of people surrounding him are actual people using their real names, and you're watching what feel like very organic conversations between all of them. So it takes its time, but it is beautifully shot. It is very intimate. It has a very, very rich sense of place. You truly feel like you have been to a part of the world that you've probably never seen before on film, or very infrequently ever seen before on film. I liked it a lot. It does take a while to get into. It definitely does not grab you immediately off the top. It takes a little while.
Yeah, I think this was the Italian Oscar entry this year.
Was it?
Yeah, and the filmmaker had previously done a film called Mediterraneo that had some of the same characters in it. So he clearly has bonded with this community, and there's a sense of mutual trust where he gets to kind of come in and tell these stories. And so the kid turns up briefly in Mediterraneo, and then the main guy from Mediterraneo sort of turns up on the margins of this one.
The African immigrants from that previous film are kind of on the periphery now of this film. But the Roma characters in this film look down on the immigrants. So although they are poor and they don't really have a whole lot, and their homes are kind of disheveled.
There's still a hierarchy.
They still feel superior, and the dinner scenes around the table have great life to them, and there's a really rich sense of authenticity to these people, which is always a tricky feat to pull off. The idea of having real people play a version of themselves can work.
Yeah, you don't want to be a cultural tourist about it, But yeah, you can. I think if you do it right, obviously, you can get a real sense of, almost a documentary feel about what these people's lives look like. And Scorsese was an executive producer on this, so it's got a lot of backing. And this is I'm sure we're going to see more from this director, probably with some characters who had a brief appearance in Ombra will be the star of the next one.
Yeah, there's great tension though to the climax that it builds to, and again, it's sort of a quiet climax, but it's about a choice that Pio must make. And I was surprised to find myself as invested as I was in that moment, given it's really understated, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, I actually really care about what decision he makes in this moment of truth here. So that is my choice. So we have Quiet Place, and Lean on Pete, and Ombra. So check them all out. They're all available in various places.